Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh, I don't care.
Arrogance, it's different kinds. Do not degrade sinners. Maulana Tanwi rahmatullah alayhi said, driven by pride and your righteousness and purification, do not regard the sinners as base. Sometimes people think and believe that they are so righteous and they are so pure. When they see someone committing a sin, they look down at them because they think they are so pure and so righteous and so holy. So Maulana Tanwi rahmatullah alayhi said, driven by pride and your righteousness and purification, do not regard the sinners as base. Forgive them. Forgive them for their mistakes. If you show arrogance, blessings might be confiscated. If you show arrogance, blessings might be confiscated. We have seen before that religious men, especially religious men, are tempted into anger by the devil, by shaitan, who had sworn that he would tempt man away from the straight path from all sides of him. He, the shaitan, puts in his heart arrogance and pride, which causes him to see others as base. He thinks that he is following religion, he is following deen, while the others are sinners and destined to go to hell, Jahannam. The result is that all his deeds become futile. A novice is more prone to it. The novice are more likely to fall prey to the devil. They are those who had no inclination to religion at first, when suddenly Allah inspired them to follow deen, with the result that they think of themselves as superior to others, regarding others as inferior. They look at the sinners with disdain. They become arrogant. Hate sin. The correct thing is that we must hate sin, but not one who commits it. Hate kufr, disbelief, not the kafir and the disbeliever. Thus, if you see anyone involved in sin, you will have pity on him, that the poor fellow is prey to the malady and sickness. A sinner should be pitied. My father-in-law, Brother Sharafat, is enabled by Allah to keep company of the religious elders. He has a very good habit. When he mentions anyone's shortcomings, he says, the poor fellow does not offer salat. The poor fellow doesn't offer salat. He is sure to append the word poor fellow. He always takes the approach of mercy and pity, because the sin is a sickness. The sin is a sickness. So when one is sick, how do we hate him? Why do we hate him? Why do we be angry at him? Rather, one pities him and prays for him. Ya Allah, cure him of his sickness. Arrogance, likely cause of confiscation of blessings. This is why the Maulana rahmatullah alayhi said that it is never allowed to look at others with hatred. If a man looks at anyone with disdain, then blessings might be withdrawn from him. Allah has enabled you to follow religion. Is that his blessings or not? At the time of the Battle of Khandaq, the Sahaba was saying, Lawla Allahu, if not for Allah, mahtadayna, we would not have been rightly guided. Wala tasaddaqna, we would not have given charity. Wala sallayna, and we would not have performed salat. Allah has enabled you to follow religion. Is that his blessings or not? So we should be grateful and don't look at others with scorn. Lawla Allahu, if not for Allah, mahtadayna, we would not have been rightly guided. Wala tasaddaqna, we would not have given charity. Wala sallayna, and we would not have performed salat. Thank Allah for that, instead of taking pride on that and degrading other people. If you persist and if you continue down this road, then Allah might withdraw the enablement. Allah might withdraw the tawfiq to do good deeds. May Allah protect us. Ameen. Verbosity, bad manners. We read in one of Maulana's saying, if you regard anyone as your elder, then it is bad manners to be verbose to him. And Fase Isa. Thus, if you write a letter to an elder, then you must write it in an informed style. Do not sit down to ponder over the words you use and which words you must use and make it abounding in wordy phrases. When writing to elders, this kind of verbosity is bad manners. Wordy composition reflects arrogance. This happens because of arrogance. The writer of such a letter hopes to impress his reader with an eloquent style, little remembering that the reader is his elder, who knows how much qualified the writer is. So when writing towards the elders, he must write a straightforward letter, using words that come easily to his mind. Everything you do must be straightforward. Maulana Thanwi Rahmatullah Alayh always suggested an informed approach in whatever you do in your deeds, speech and writing. He said, sit in a gathering as you like, in comfort, and do not adopt an exclusive manner of sitting. So write also informally. Of course, you should not be rude and bad-mannered. Feeling shy to greet first is arrogance. In another of his saying, we are told, Maulana Thanwi Rahmatullah Alayh, in Anfas Isa it is written, I have a complaint against the ulama. I have a complaint against the ulama. We consider ourselves very great and we feel shy to be the first to greet the common man. We feel shy to be the first to greet the common man. In fact, we wait for others to greet us. This too is a symbol of arrogance. It is generally with the ulama that they wait for other people to greet them. They get it into their heads that they are scholars. So therefore they are leaders whom everyone is bound to give respect and honor. So be grateful, not arrogant. The Maulana Rahmatullah Alayh often said that if Allah has blessed you with knowledge, then you must put this blessing to proper use. Do not make it a means to brag about yourself. In fact, you are a creature like any other. There is difference between the layman and you. There is no difference between the layman and you, except that Allah has blessed you with an extra blessing, for which you should thank Allah and use it to beneficial purpose, which is service of humanity, khidmat. The result will be apparent in diffusion of light of your knowledge and of its blessings. So it is not proper that you present your knowledge to uphold your superiority. Allah can withdraw it from you in a moment. Every office is out of your power. The Maulana Rahmatullah alayhi used to give valuable advice. May Allah enable us to act on it. Ameen. This will uproot all kinds of arrogance and pride. He would say, I will tell you of an office that no one will snatch it from you or be jealous of you on that account. As for other offices of this world, neither can you get them at will, nor can you prevent others from being jealous of you. Besides, even if you manage to get them, like becoming the head of the state, you cannot be sure that you will retain it unhindered. Take up servitude, khidmat, politics, being what it is. Even if anyone manages to get an important office, he is in constant fear that his chair might be pulled away from him, and he wastes his time in trying to save his chair. The Maulana Rahmatullah alayhi said, I tell you of an office that is within your powers to get, and for which no one will harbor jealousy against you, and no one will snatch it from you. It is the office of a servant, the office of a qadim, the office of servitude and khidmat. Be a qadim, be a servant of everyone, and give service. Tell yourself, I am a qadim, a servant of the masses. I am a qadim of the creatures, of my wife and children. The modes of service and khidmat differ. Teacher, father, and scholar, they are all servants, all qadims. The teacher who teaches his students, he serves them though his mode of service is different. The teacher is also a qadim and a servant. A father trains his son and so serves him. And even when he beats his son, he serves, because he scolds or beats to create good qualities in him. So a father too is a qadim and servant. If you are a scholar, an alim, then Allah has given you knowledge to serve the creatures, that you may let them benefit. This is how knowledge is used, not that you brag about it or be arrogant. Thus an alim and a scholar is also a servant. Limit of arrogance. Here is another of the Maulana's saying. Arrogance is to consider one's praiseworthy traits as one's feet, ignoring Allah's grant and benevolence, and to regard another as base. To deny one's characteristics is not humility. For instance, a hafiz may rely on his memorization, but he must regard it as a divine gift. We have read this subject previously. If anyone has been blessed by Allah with a praiseworthy characteristic, then it is not arrogance to be convinced of this characteristic, provided he regards it as Allah's blessing and not his own feat and accomplishment. To regard oneself as perfect, superior, is to be arrogant. For instance, if a person knows the Arabic language which another doesn't know, then he cannot say that he does not know it. To simply be convinced of it, it is not to be arrogant. He will be arrogant when he regards it as his personal achievement. Right? The Quran claimed, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي. I have been given this only on account of the knowledge I have. the words of Qarun. This is arrogance here. To acknowledge something, to acknowledge that one knows Arabic language and be thankful for it, that is good. One doesn't have to deny it. But when one thinks it is his own accomplishment, like how Qarun had said, إِنَّمَا أُوتِيتُهُ عَلَىٰ عِلْمٍ عِنْدِي, I have been given this only on account of the knowledge I have. This is arrogance. Or, though he confirms it as Allah's blessing, he degrades other people who lack the characteristic. However, he is safe from arrogance if neither of these two ills is found in him. Gratitude prevents arrogance. One can preserve oneself from arrogance by expressing gratitude to Allah every time one thinks of one's characteristic. O Allah, you have granted me this quality, though I was not worthy of it. The gratitude confirms his unworthiness. This will cut arrogance at its roots. This is what the Maulana said. It is to consider a praiseworthy trait as one's feat and accomplishment, ignoring Allah's grant, and to regard another as base. This is arrogance. But to deny one's trait is not humility. Not humility to call oneself worthless. And this is so deep here. Mufti Taqi Usmani, Damat Barakatum, says, some people who show modesty and humility call themselves worthless nothing. Many times we say that, I am just worthless, or I am nothing, and we say it in public. Mufti Taqi Usmani, Damat Barakatum, said often, this is a lie. It's not true, it is a lie. Proof of that lies in the fact that if they are told, yes, of course, somebody says in a crowd and says amongst people, I am just nothing, I am worthless, I am a nobody. But if they are then told now, yes, boy, of course you are nothing, you are nobody, they will find it unpleasant, which is enough to belie them. This is enough to belie them. In fact, they try to impress upon others that they are humble and hope that others would tell them, what is their real hope is that others would tell them, no, you are a great scholar, don't say that. Observe how many ills are concealed in that. So one must not say, I am worthless, for this is not humility. It is just a show of humility. Accordingly, what we often write about oneself in similar words is a collection of these illnesses, unless one uses these words with a true heart. The proof of his sincerity is demonstrated when he is told, yes, indeed you are like that, and he does not mind it in the least, then he is sincere. In such cases, it is not wrong to use these words. To regard oneself as inferior. The truth is that use of these words is meaningless. It is not humbleness to call oneself unworthy, but humility is to regard oneself as unworthy, as a feeling should be inside. A humble person will not use these words, but will always look at his shortcomings, because of which he thinks of himself as inferior to everyone. Let us look at the humility of the elders. The Honorable Dr. Hafizullah is the Khalifa of Mufti Muhammad Hassan Amritsari, Rahmatullah alayh. He told me that he had heard Mufti Muhammad Hassan Amritsari, Rahmatullah alayh, say, I was lodged once in the Conca, in the recluse, of Maulana Tanvi Rahmatullah alayhi at Thana Bhawan. Maulana Khair Muhammad Rahmatullah alayhi was also there. So they are both there, Mufti Muhammad Hassan Amritsari, Maulana Khair Muhammad. So Maulana Khair Muhammad said to me, I undergo a strange experience and do not know whether it is praiseworthy or blamed. I feel ashamed to speak of it to anyone, but because you are a friend, I'll tell you about it in friendship. When I sit in the assembly of Maulana Tanvi, Rahmatullah alayhi, I feel that all the others in the Majlis assembly, I feel they are better than me. And they are human beings, but I feel as though I am an ox among them. I am worried whether this condition is good or bad. Mufti Muhammad Hassan Amritsari said, alayhi rahmah. When I heard him, I confirmed to him that I had the same experience and felt that the other members of the assembly were superior to me. So we decided to disclose our condition to Hazrat Maulana Tanvi Rahmatullah alayhi. When they spoke to him, Maulana Tanvi alayhi rahmah said, do not worry. When I sit in the assembly, I also have a feeling that everyone is better than me and I am inferior. Look at your faults. Nevertheless, it is not humbleness to call oneself inferior, but humility is to regard oneself as inferior. When a man has his eyes on his faults, then he sees everyone else better than him, because he does not spy their internal faults, though he knows his own. May Allah grant us this characteristic. Allahumma ameen. Denying a trait is not humility. This is why Maulana Tanvi Rahmatullah alayhi said in the foregoing quotation that it is not humbleness and humility to deny one's characteristics. For instance, if someone asks a Hafiz, are you a Hafiz? No, he wants to play humble. He says, no, I am no Hafiz anything, in order to be humble. Then that is not humility, it is a lie. However, he should recognize that as a blessing of Allah, and that he got it without his own ability or feat, and that does not imply his excellence. Others could be more excellent than him. Only learning and knowledge, remember, cannot drive out arrogance. This is yet another of the Maulana's sayings, Rahmatullah alayhi. Arrogance is a great devil and evil. Takabbur, arrogance. As long as we have it, pride, arrogance, takabbur, istikbar, as long as we have it, we cannot give the haqq and the right of knowledge and learning. And it is not driven out, remember, arrogance is not driven out merely by acquiring knowledge. No. If anyone remembers the treatment of itching, suppose somebody has itching, and he remembers the treatment of itching, then merely remembering the treatment of itching will not cure him of itching. Rather, he must get the medicine and take it. Abstain from the harmful. Use the prescription till he is satisfied, and he must observe preventive measures. Carry on in this way till the physician assures him that the malady is cured and fasa. May Allah protect us from this malady and deliver us from it. Ameen. Wa akiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.
Social expectation drowns us all inside. What you have should be what I want, 'cause what I have just ain't alright. The clothes I wear, the way I comb my hair, how I live, oh, I don't care. This is who I am, this is me. Nothing, everything, can't you see who I am? Just let me be, 'cause like